Okay, we are streaming and recording. Oh, we can wait. We can wait.
Okay, it's 5:30. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming out in this weather. Call the meeting to order. Ask everybody to stand for a pledge of the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call. We have a quorum. Have an election for vice chair since Daniel resigned. Any motions for vice chair? Yeah, you'd like to make it? Okay.
Motion for myself.
Second.
For Mayor Scott to serve vice chair.
Second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you. Approval of minutes from the previous meeting. Everybody received their copy?
Yes.
Okay. Any corrections, changes? Okay, motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, any items from board members? No. Okay, any items from staff? Thank you. We have two public hearings this evening. First one will be V 2120 Martin 905 Cobblestone Court setback variance. Consideration of a variance request to reduce the rear setback for a covered deck from 35 feet to 20 feet. The home is located in the Fairfax subdivision, of which the final plat requires a 35-foot rear setback. The subject property is located at 905 Cobblestone Court in the Fairfax subdivision. Ms. Kathy?
Good evening, Chairman and board members. The first item is shown to you on the screen. Hopefully, yes, thank you, Lauren. The submitted request, if approved, would allow for a 20 by 20 covered deck at the rear of a single-family home with a reduced rear setback of 20 feet. The home is located in the Fairfax subdivision, and I have a plat that shows the corner of the property. And here you can see, you can still see it on the screen. It's highlighted in yellow is where the covered porch would be located. So the reason that this is a variance is because the recorded plat actually has a 35-foot setback. So they're requesting the reduction for the 20-foot setback. In our code, within the Unified Development Code, actually would require a 25-foot setback, but a plat is a legal tool in an agreement, so we have to go by what the final plat depicts. So this area, she also included some pictures of what that rear area looks like on a, kind of just shown that mapped out in the backyard. So you can see with the yellow line here, that would be the 20-foot setback, and you can kind of see the corner going into the yard of actually where the porch would be located. So it doesn't take out that rear tree area. There is a pine tree that may be impacted that would have to be removed, but in general, that area is going to stay heavily wooded, screened, and I'll show you some pictures of what that looks like. Here's some of the views. So there's existing trees that kind of hide that area from the roadway, even though it's a corner lot. So even with the variance, there would be some tree coverage. The applicant also included some pictures of what that porch would look like, and it's a porch that's covered without walls, and they also provided photos that we included in the staff report that showed lattice would be added along the bottom of that porch. We also included some different setback variances that are similar situations. So there's a few of them that we included within the area that's listed in the chart. And when we're looking at recommendations, of course, we look at section 4.5.3, which outlines the criteria for granting a hardship variance. And specifically for this one, we looked at number 1, which is there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property in question because of its size, shape, or topography. And because it's a corner lot, the home is angled to the intersection of Cobblestone Court and Fairfax Drive here. So with the angle, it pushes into that rear setback, so we do believe that that does create the hardship, the positioning of that home. We reviewed the applicant's request and the criteria, and we support the rear setback variance. The applicant also notified adjacent property owners of the variance and intent, and there was no letters of objection were received. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those for you.
Any questions? No. Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can we hear from the applicant, please? Oh, I'm sorry. Come up. Yes.
You'll just go to the middle podium.
Okay.
And if you'll just state your name and address, just so it can be reflected on the record.
Sure. Lisa Martin, 905 Cobblestone Court, Alpharetta, Georgia.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to say or any additional information you'd like to provide?
No, I think the application's been accurately represented.
Okay, thank you. Any motions?
Motion to approve the variance request from 35 feet to 20 feet.
Thank you. Any second?
I second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. Next on the calendar is V 2121, Baxley Setback Variance. Consideration of a variance request to reduce a front setback for 7 single-family detached lots from 35 feet to 25 feet. The subject property is located at 12780 and 12790 Hopewell Road in the Baxley subdivision.
Thank you. The next item is shown to you on the screen. You can see on the map the location, just really adjacent to the City of Milton city limits boundary. And the request, if approved, would allow for a front setback reduction from 35 feet to 25 feet. And this is for 6 single-family detached lots, and this is a new subdivision, so the homes are not constructed yet within this subdivision. Let me put the plan here. Property is zoned R15, so it didn't go through a rezoning. It did go through a request to be able to be a gated development. Gated developments have to go through a request to get council approval in order to be gated. They also had a previous request at that same time in order to allow a hammerhead configuration at the end of the drive, and that's because it's such a small development. So a lot of times you'll have, of course, the cul-de-sac, but they had asked for that, the hammerhead. And there was also some tree saves that they requested in order to have that variance. So when they went through with council before, Previously, it was the gating as well as the hammerhead configuration. So they still have the required lot size of 15,000 square feet. But I think over time, the houses have gotten larger, and the requests for the homes have gotten larger. So the request before you tonight is actually a front setback variance. So they are requesting for a reduction on the front setback. The code, of course, requires a 35-foot front setback. Site plan is, with the detached lots, has a 25-foot setback. Now, the depths of these lots are a little bit more shallow than you would see on a typical R15 lot. So that's some of the reason that they're requesting the front setback variance. And they do have retaining walls that are located at the rear of the lots, but these retaining walls are gabion baskets. It's along the creek, so it's mostly screened along the creek, and those will be planted. We don't have a condition without going through this process that would require the planting, so we have made a recommendation that if the front setback is approved, that we get plantings at the back on this gabion basket wall, and I'll show you what that looks like. And even though this isn't the variance that they're requesting, it's just something that, since it was brought to our attention at the rear, we would like to make sure, of course, that that's planted. Because this is a typical gabion wall, and then after they're planted, it's something that blends in at the back. And just to give you an example of where that's been for a couple years, at Avalon, this was their detention pond that's made out of gabion baskets, and since it was planted over time, you don't even see it. So even though they have that stream buffer at the back, we just put a condition in there, which I think they're fine with, that they plant those gabion baskets. So the request before you for the front setback variance, we also put examples. I think we put 5 of similar front setback variances. I think the closest one to this location is that 12 on Canton. They received a front setback variance from 30 feet to 25 feet. And also at the time, 12 on Canton received a side setback variance from 10 feet to 5 feet. We did look at the different criteria within section 4.5.3. And again, we looked at number 1. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property in question because of its size, shape, or topography. And we did find that there's exceptional conditions pertaining to the property because of the unusual shape and topography. Lots 1 to 5 have an average lot depth of about 125 feet, which is shallow compared to other adjacent typical R15 lots. We're recommending approval of the variance request. We don't believe that it's in conflict with any of the established criteria. And the applicant did notify property owners of the variance request and intent for the property. And according to the report, the applicant met with the adjacent property owner to the north as well as to the west, who stated they were in favor of the variance request. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad. Oh, I didn't even read the conditions. Sorry. Recommendation is to approve V2121 Baxley setback variance subject to 2 conditions. 1, front setback shall be 25 feet as depicted on the site plan prepared by BC Engineering, Inc., revised 7/14/21. And 2, gabion basket retaining walls shall be planted with ivy or similar landscaping as approved by staff. And now that concludes my presentation, if you have any questions.
Thank you. It was originally 7 lots. Was it reduced to 6 because the houses were made larger, or?
And the applicant may be able to answer that, but I believe he might have had a request for a larger home, so combine 2 of those lots. I think that may be what happened.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The applicant like to come forward, please? Good evening.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm Scott Reese with Brumlow Reese and Associates, doing business at 13685 Highway 9, Milton, formerly Alpharetta, Georgia 30004. I'm here tonight representing the Chatham family and their variance to reduce the front building setback line from 35 to 25. The Chathams have learned in 75 years of constructing homes that you either adapt to the times or you perish. And in the last 2 years, maybe principally from COVID, the market has changed. Originally, these were to be basement lots with a walkout in the rear. There's about 18 feet of elevation from the road to the north property line. Ms. Cook was citing there's a creek on the adjacent property, and we have that elevation change. In the interim, from when we first started the subdivision till now, all the requests from home buyers are for walkout on side, all sides, so one level living. The size and shape of the original track is such that we were really constrained on how we could put the street in, meet everything. With that elevation change to create level on all areas, the wall and grading has reduced the building envelope. So to satisfy the potential buyers, we needed an expansion, or to keep the building envelope the same as it originally was. And with the grading in the walls, we lost some area there. So with a gated community, we thought reducing the front building setback line, there's going to be limited access in the neighborhood, so it shouldn't be reflected. It would be different if we were along Main Street or Canton Street or something along that line. We felt that reducing this would not negatively affect the adjoining neighborhoods. Like we said, we met with the owner who owns all around the north side and the west. We have a letter that says, after we showed him, he agreed that this would enhance the final product. So that being said, I think we, to go back, we did reduce the number of lots from 7 to 6 just because of the grading and everything we were having to do. We were losing buildable area such, and it was just going to work better to go ahead and reduce the subdivision by one lot and go forward with this front building setback line. I think I've covered everything. If you have any questions, we will be, Mr. Chatham is here along with me. We would be glad to try to answer any of your questions if you have any concerns. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Any questions? Are you fine with the conditions proposed by the city?
Yes. The planning on the wall, we think, will be an enhancement. The wall, this is, the picture is newly installed. That's by far the worst it's going to ever look. No, with the price range of these homes, we will have to go to, or the landscaping will have to match the price point of the house. So,
Thank you. Any motion?
Motion to approve B-21-21 Baxley Setback Variance.
With the conditions. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion approved. Thank you. And we're adjourned. Our next meeting is going to be Thursday, September 16th. Okay. So you have that on the calendar. Thank you, everybody.